First of all, let us try to understand these things. Row level expression.
It would every time it would go back to the same date, isn't it? When it is every time I make a fresh purchase, supposing I make one purchase every month. So every time the field is going to calculate, it is going to calculate the recent visit that last purchase date, the first purchase date.
Huh?
That's what it's going to do, isn't it?
Yes, yes, exactly.
That means it's not giving me every time I make a fresh purchase. The purchase is not giving. It is giving the first purchase. The difference is between this purchase date and the first purchase date. Every
Exactly.
time I make a purchase,
Hmm.
December minus Jan, November minus Jan,
Exactly.
like that.
Exactly.
It's not giving December minus November when I make a purchase in November and December.
Yeah. I've written a code to calculate the difference between the first purchase and the most recent purchase.
Okay.
That is a function that I've written. Hence, it will calculate those days only. Is your follow-up question on can I calculate the difference between the most recent purchase minus the
No,
current?
what I figured out from the discussion was that I purchased from November, then I purchased in December, so it is going to give me the time between the most recent purchase and the previous purchase.
Oh, okay. So,
And in that context, I could not understand the output that it produced.
hmm,
Therefore, I asked for a clarification on the definition of that variable fixed LOD1.
okay. Now is
It
it
is
clear?
clear, but I'm not sure how to interpret the graph.
Hmm. So I will do a one-on-one with you, Santosh, because you have
Okay.
another doubt, right? Let us have a one-on-one discussion.
Yeah.
Okay. The next thing that we need to know here is what is row level expression? Look at this. We have a row level expression, we have view level expression. Let us try to understand these two. If I simply calculate or create a calculated field in this format, I would put this as row level expression. Sales divided by profit. And I apply and click on OK. If I drag row level expression and drop it here, what do you think is the end result? What do you think is the end result that you're seeing here? What is it giving? Sales profit ratio, right? Basically, it's giving you sales profit ratio. Let me rename this otherwise to so you have the profit ratio here. Agree with me on profit ratio? What is the value that you get? 36406. So if I go to the underlying data set, what do you think you're getting? It will calculate the profit ratio. What it does is it is going to divide sales by profit for each and every row, and it is going to thereby take the summation of the final result. It is going to divide 262 by 42. You can try it out manually if you want in Excel sheet. 732 by 220, so on and so forth. And you will get the resultant column. It is going to take the summation of that. Okay, so let me copy this. So I'm going to take profit ratio here. It is nothing but sales by profit. So here is sales. I'm going to divide it with profit. I get a corresponding value. Uh, Let me replace dollar with a space. And let me also replace dollar with space everywhere. Now you get this profit ratio, right? If you calculate the profit ratio across, why is it not taking continuous? Oh, it's not taking. There's some problem with my machine. Just bear with me. So you got all these values, right? So what it ultimately does is it takes the summation of all these numbers. And since you have a few values where there is nothing there in your sales, right? You need to actually exclude these values also. And when you exclude and take summation of these numbers, in short, Tableau would anyways replace those, empty cells with null values. Hence, you don't see any error here. But if you do that, the value that you see here, 36406, is actually the summation of that sum by profit values for each and every row. Hence, this is called as what? Row level expression. Now, let me show you what do we mean by view level expression. That's the next thing. View level expression. Let me show you that. If you want to create a view level expression, you need to create another calculated field. And I would say this is view level expression. And you need to do sum of sales and divide it with sum of profit. Oh, is that how I have calculated? Then yeah, it will be profit by sales. Okay. Here is view level expression. Let me see the profit ratio. What was the formula that I've written? Yeah, what's wrong with this? I didn't get you. Nishant, profit ratio. So what's wrong with sales by profit? I didn't quite get you. Why should it be inverted and what is wrong with that? Yeah. So I can either say sales by profit. All right, let us proceed with this. I've created a view level expression now. And what we have done is sum of sales by sum of profit. So I'm going to edit this. Here I have sum of sales by sum of profit. Now if I drag and drop this, what do you think is the ultimate value that you're getting? I get 8.021. What do you think is happening here? And AGG here stands for aggregate calculations. The value AGG that you see stands for aggregate calculations. Now, why are you getting only value? Exactly. It is total sales by total profit. So, whenever you see total sales by total profits, it is called as view level expression because it's going to consider the complete view, complete profit and complete sales. However, if you look into, yeah, we got aggregate of sales by profit. So, this one is pretty simple. But this is also your part of your level of detail. Now, what do you think will happen if I do sales minus average of sales? What do you think will be the end result? Let me show you. It should throw ideal and error. So I will do sales and I'm going to subtract it with average sales. Look at that. What error does it say? Cannot mix aggregate and non-aggregate arguments with this function. So here you have average, here you have, yeah, absolutely. Then how do I fix this? I can fix this using a simple logic by including level of detail expression. The moment I add this LOD expression, those symbols, curly braces, the issue is fixed now. And this concept is called as table scoped level of detail expression. Right now you can actually calculate this value. And this is called as table scoped level of detail expression. Just a name given, terminology given.
I have a question,
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah, please.
So the row level expression where you say sales by profit, it was doing for each row. So it seems it added up to a big number, like it's a ratio, right? Sales by profit.
Yeah.
So where the first chart that you showed, it was like 36, if you can open it, I don't remember, it was like 36,000 in Tableau itself, the ratio
Yeah,
that you
I think.
got.
Hmm.
How come it's such a big number? Like the second one is clear, sum of sales by sum of profit, it's 8 point something. That's the total sum of sales by total sum of profit. That's clear. The
Hmm.
first one, which was for each row, if you see in the Excel sheet also, it's like 6.2, 3.3. If we add it, how can it come to such a, um,
What is the number that we have got here? We have got
yeah,
36,406, right? So Shika,
yeah,
assume that it is 6. Assume that it is 6 throughout on an average. Since we have
yeah,
20, 30 now. Can I consider 6? Do you know how many
yeah,
rows are there here? 9,994.
okay, yeah,
Let us
yeah.
multiply it with 6.
Mm-hmm.
Getting
Yeah.
it? But there
Yeah,
are a
got
few
it.
negative values also, so it will subtract and give you that.
Got it. Great. Thanks.
Yeah. So here is a quick thing. Um, Maybe not of that importance, but still. Fixed level of detail expression can result in measures or dimensions, right? So where do you think this will go? When I say fixed customer name, colon minimum order date. I'm not sure what's happening here. Oh, okay. Anyways, fixed customer name, minimum order date. What would it give you? Will it will this particular function, if I write this particular function, will it go to measure or dimension? Why dimension? Because order date here is dimension. Now if I use fixed region and then sum of sales, where will it go? To measure or dimension? It will go to measure because sum of sales is a measure. Okay. So this is how, based on what field you're using, based on that, it will either place this particular calculated field in a measure or a dimension. That is the underlying functionality of level of detail, Vikram. Okay, that is the underlying functionality of level of detail. If you ask me what is level of detail, there is no single one-liner explanation on what is level of detail. Hence, I'm trying to show you the various possibilities of level of detail. And those open and closed braces, curly braces, is all about level of detail. Okay. Now let us, maybe this will make more sense, Vikram, I don't know. Include and exclude level of detail expressions are always measures. When you use include or exclude in a function, it would always place that in a measure. For example, it will put that calculated field here in the measure. Let me connect to the superstore here. Yes, exactly, Nalini. We can do calculations between aggregate and non-aggregate fields. We can look into average of averages. So all these kind of calculations can be done. So now let us look into include level of detail expression first. All right. So let me go here and let me create a calculated field. Within this, I will say include. The function, even before you write any LOD function, first you need to open the curly braces. Say include state and say sum of sales. Okay. So let me close the curly braces. I'll apply and click on it. So include got created. As I've told you, include and exclude will by default appear in your measures within your data pane. Now let me drag category and drop it on the column shelf. And let me drag this include and drop it here. So what has happened? And let me change it to average. Yeah, so what did it calculate here? It has calculated the sum of sales on a per state basis. Exactly. Exactly. It has calculated sales by category, right? So it has calculated average sales for each state. Now, in order to understand this, this is what you need to know. Let me go to the underlying data set. So what it does is, if I, okay, we have already saved it here, right? Let me put a filter. I'm going to filter and select only furniture. Now, we need to also filter it based on state. So for each and every state, it would calculate what is the sales value. For Alabama, it would calculate the sales. Obviously, you'll get one number, right? When I calculate the sales for the state called Alabama, and then Arizona, if I select that, and if I add the sales, I would get another sales number. In this way, for each and every state, I would separately calculate the sales and then take the average of those sales. Are you guys getting me? No. Yes. So if you see here, Vikram, it says include state and sum of sales. Or you can also say average of sales, however you want. I clicked it. I dragged and dropped it here, and instead of sales, I've quickly changed it to average. You can do this. You can do all these changes. Now, how are you getting this value 15,458? All you're trying to do is sort by each furniture, sort by each category. I've selected furniture. Why did I select furniture? Because I'm just trying to explain you all on how did this value get calculated, 15,458. For that, I've sorted the furniture. Since it says include by state, I go to state, and each state is selected, and the sum of sales for each and every state is selected. If I add all these numbers, will I get sum of sales for Alabama for furniture category? What do you think, Vikram? In that way, would I get sum of sales for each and every state? If I keep changing, can I take average of all those sales? If I take the average of sales, I would get this value. That is what it means. Okay. Now that's the actual use of your include function. You can do umpteen number of changes here. Okay. If you want the average sales based on each state and also for each and every segment, all you need to do is just expand the scope. And when you want to place average of include here, or let me also drag and drop it here. Now, if you want to drag this average sales and if you want to see the actual values, I'm going to drag and drop it on label by pressing down the control key, and you get the corresponding values also. So in the furniture segment for consumer segment, so what it actually does is furniture, and you have a segment here, right? Here also it's going to drop down, drill down. Level of detail. What do you mean by level of detail? Now, probably it will make sense for you all. I want the detailed sales. I don't want the sales for the entire consumer segment, or do not want the sales for the corporate segment or the home office segment alone, but I want the level of detail. So I want it for the furniture for this segment for this particular state. I'll get one sales value. I want the sales for furniture segment, furniture category. Let me hide all of these things. Okay, I want sales value for furniture, this segment, and for the state called Arizona. And I take the sum of the sales, all these sales. And then I take the overall average, I get this. So what do you mean by level of detail now? Level of detail means rather than getting the values at an aggregated level, rather than using the Tableau default features of just dragging and dropping the sales across the categories, so on and so forth, you can actually get into the level of detail and try to calculate average sales for each and every country or each and every state or for each and every region, so on and so forth. That is called as level of detail. You're getting into the depth of it, level of detail. Now, is it making sense to some extent? All right. The next thing that we need to discuss is exclude level of detail. Okay. This one also would be interesting. Let me try to come up with this. So let me create another field. Now, I'm going to create a calculated field here called exclude. Right? And in order to write any level of detail, I need a curly brace. I say exclude region sum of sales. What do you think will be the output for this? Anyone? Category wise? Exactly. It would not consider the region in calculation. Exactly. If in the view meaning in the visualization, if region would be there, it is not going to consider that for calculating the sum of sales. So let me click on apply. Okay. If I select region, and then if we calculate the sales for each and every region, this should give you one value, right? If I include this exclude, what do you think has happened? Or let me represent this in a different way. That might make sense. Okay. I have sum of sales. I'll take sum of sales and drop it here. And order date is what I'm going to place here.